Former ANC KZN Premier Sihle Zikalala, who was elected in the party's National Executive Committee back in December, set to be moved to the National Assembly. Well, Zikalala expected to resign, at least that's the talk, as the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs MEC in KwaZulu-Natal to take up a post in Parliament. Zikalala joining us now to chat more about the latest developments. Mr. Zikalala, thank you very much for your time. Let's put the speculation to rest. The understanding is that you have had a conversation with the leadership of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. What were the outcomes of that conversation?
No, thanks for having us, and it has always been a pleasure to speak to you. We have, as you have said, had an engagement with the national leadership, the Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, and the provincial leadership of the ANC, where the ANC reached a decision that it would be better for me to relocate to the National Assembly. I, therefore, following that discussion, tendered my resignation from the legislature yesterday, and that also means I also surrendered the position of the MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
Very interesting news indeed. And so when is it that you expect to take an oath in Parliament as a member of that House?
Well, I wouldn't say, because that then depends to the Chief Whip and the presiding officers in the National Assembly. So I will follow their direction. Safe to say, I'm humbled by the support that we have received during the various epoch in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. I have served as the MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, and as the Premier, and subsequent to that as the MEC for COGTA. And in all those responsibilities, I have enjoyed support from various stakeholders, of which I'm grateful, and I wish to thank all of them.
You have come through the ranks of the ANC, Mr. Zikalala, and I say this because I remember you very well as Secretary General of the ANC Youth League, and then, of course, you went to KwaZulu-Natal, where you've again come up through the ranks, ultimately becoming chairperson of the party in that province. But something happened during the recent election of the current leadership of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, and that's your move from being chairperson of the province. I mean, contestation happens all the time. That's what you tell us as media people, and it's important that you accept the outcomes of whatever conference there has been. You then had to vacate the seat of the Premier, but some, because I'm going to avoid using the word many, some people would have seen your move from being Premier to going back to being an MEC as something of a misnomer. For you, was that a strange move, or this was yet another deployment by the ANC where you simply said, I will go where the party sends me?
Well, firstly, it was in a spirit of trying to help and build unity in the organization. I intended to resign as the Premier, which I engaged the leadership of the ANC, and the leadership of the ANC was reluctant to accept that. Where the discussion and that discussion culminated to a point where I then agreed that, well, fine, let me then resign from the Premier, but be available to serve as the MEC. so that it does not seem like I'm just leaving bitter. I wasn't bitter at all. And at that time, the leadership of the province was not convinced. They were not convinced that I should leave as the premier. But I felt it was necessary to give leadership a space, but more than that, to just ensure that there is a smooth transition in the ANC. And it is, of course, a responsibility of all of us as cadres to serve wherever we are deployed. It is not that you will think or you will always assume that you are demoted and therefore it is not about us, but it is about the ANC. So the leadership believed that deploying me in the executive would also try to mend and help to build unity. We then agreed on that, hence I took that position.
Yeah. As you leave provincial politics, Mr. Zikalala, as you leave the province of KwaZulu-Natal, as a leader in your own right, what would your honest assessment of that province, politically speaking, how would you describe the state of politics in that province, particularly inside your party, the ANC?
Well, I would say the external environment is fluid, very contested. It is a province that is charged with competition from various parties. But the ANC itself needs to build strong leadership, and strong leadership that will ensure that there is a clear focus on the strategic mission of the ANC, the creation of non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous society. The main task is to ensure that we serve the people. In politics, when the affections, sometimes you get that those who will stand on principles and who will be hard to say, let's get things done according to the book. Let's get things done in the best interest of the ANC becomes victims. And I would always want to emphasize that point. It is important that we work consistently and according to the principles and invest all our efforts in trying to ensure that we achieve the strategic objectives of the ANC.
I ask you this question about the state of politics, particularly inside your party, because the IFP, of course, it will say this because it has to in order to make itself sound as if indeed they are a credible alternative to an ANC that seems to be quarreling with each other. But where my question is going is the only metro in KwaZulu-Natal at the moment is being run through a coalition, and even that is crumbling. There are strong suggestions that come 2024, that province may change hands. Do you have confidence, number one, on the leadership that is there right now, that the city of Durban will remain, well, perhaps remaining is now a foregone conclusion, but you think that the ANC could claw back that city, but also importantly, do you think that you played any part in where the city of eThekwini finds itself today?
Well, let me start with the last. It is not individuals who plays the role, but it is collective of the ANC. And when collective of the ANC fails, the individuals need not to exonerate themselves. And when the collective succeed, the individuals need not to claim individual victories. And I will want to leave it at that level. But then comes to say, how do we go forward? I believe that the electorate, especially the support base of the ANC, spoke quite clear that they will not accept the ANC that is factionalized. They will not accept the ANC that is not acting with agency in addressing their immediate needs. And they will not accept the ANC that is not in touch with them. And therefore, if the ANC will address those fundamental issues in 2024, I'm sure the support base of the ANC will be activated and go out to vote for the ANC. If you look on the elections, the local government elections, which I believe you are using as a barometer to conclude that there might be a change of power, the majority or a lot of people didn't go out to vote. And therefore, I believe if we address those concerns, the people will be able to go out and vote for the ANC.
Let's wind it up, Mr. Zikalala. As one of those that were directly elected to the NEC, by the way, this is something that is seen as something of an achievement because it talks to perhaps how important delegates of the ANC attach to the human being. You were high up on the list of those NEC members. That must have been something. And including there, the fact that you are now going to national parliament, of course, speculation is rife that you may possibly be included in the executive of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Any idea what position you may possibly end up in?
No, for now, the ANC have said that I will go to the National Assembly and I will not want to put the ANC under pressure. And I know that when we are assigned, wherever we are assigned, we must work and work with dedication and respect. So for me, irrespective of whether I'm deployed or not deployed in the executive, what is important is that as a member, when I'm sworn in as a member of the National Assembly, I should work with the ANC leadership in a manner that is envisaged and expected of us as the members of the ANC.
Sihle Zikalala, let me thank you very much for your time and indeed giving us at least the true story that you have now relinquished your position in the provincial legislature and indeed you've also tendered your resignation as MEC of COGTA in KwaZulu-Natal. Thanks indeed for your time. When we